Throughout my elementary and high school years, I found that I had a love for mathematics and design, that order existed and all things could be equated as either true or false seemed completely natural to me. It wasn't until a few interesting books fell into my mind that I began to realize that many equations could conceive strikingly different answers. Books concerning humanity's future were formulating our demise, and I made it my goal to reevaluate this equation to ensure that humanity's potential could be reached. I strove forward into a new world and a new life, looking for ways to bring this new perspective into everyday lives. And then, everything changed. 1 year after I had first heard of the Temagami Forest Land located in northern Ontario, and after 8 months of strategic planning, campaigning, and walking, the adventure that started it all was over. I was soon to discover that this was just my beginning. The energies and the spiritual connections I found while immersed in this ancient landscape urged me to share its story, and so I began using my drafting equipment in a whole new way. My vision for inspiring the world with concepts of sustainable living grew rather dramatically over the next 2 years, and soon I found myself embracing the need to share this vision with an entire country. My country, my home, my Canada. As I made my way first to the West Coast, and then to the East Coast, and finally to our North Coast, I found that many people wanted me to not only share my beliefs and my artwork, but my talents as well. I was learning how to become a teacher. For 5 years, I advocated on behalf of our future, focusing many of my talks about the power of community. And then it occurred to me that I didn't have a community to call my own. It was time to return to London, Ontario, and embrace the ideals that I had been sharing with others. After having spent so much of my time surrounding myself with children and finding a heart full of enjoyment in the process, I found it curious that I ended up driving a school bus. I now had a full-time job. I was spending my time with young and fresh minds that I could easily relate to, and my world became full of more artwork than I could have ever imagined. My most recent life adventure saw me getting involved in my community in a very unlikely way. The local media had a field day with the fact that an artist and a school bus driver was bringing the most challenging issues into the spotlight, demanding change. I may not have won the election, but I did win a place in my community's heart. It was a short while after my son was born when I began to think about his life and how it will take shape around him. We all remember those times when we were young and people would ask us what we want to be when we grow up. I began to wonder just how I would talk to him about this subject. From my own example, I didn't really fit into any kind of mold. Yeah, I had followed my passions while studying at college, but then everything else just kind of happened. I became an artist by accident. I became a traveler, a teacher, a musician, a school bus driver, and a political candidate with no intentions of ever choosing these paths in my life. These choices were simply calling that I had answered. I had these thoughts in my mind when I wrote down a very simple sentence that I hope will offer guidance, not only for my son, but for the whole world. It's not so much about what you want to do or be when you grow up. It's more about learning how your life needs you.